All right. What's going on, chat? How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. I wanted to do a little makeup stream for the internet issues we had on Friday, which luckily it just seemed to be on Optimum's end, not my PC setup or anything like that. So we are going to work on figuring out tying these Cowan's bait fish on a jig hook today. So that is what we're going to be doing. Let me change my ISO because I was filming the other day for Mike Rolls Dice. I gotta film a battle report. I gotta film a fly time video here at some point, and I think we're probably going to be showcasing this fly right here. So it's the idea, at least. Let me also make sure we have vertical stream set up. So okay, have the camera off to the side. Trying a little bit of a different angle, but we got some fun materials and all that. But real quick, I guess we'll chat with everybody, see what everyone's up to. What's going on, chat? We got our web camera set up as well. Man, I need to shave my beard. At least trim it up a little bit. But I hope everyone's doing well. What's going on, chat? How's it going? What do you call it? Friday we had some internet issues, so luckily we're all good. We streamed on Saturday some. I know what the next two videos are going to be. They're going to be covering two more of Henry Cowan's flies because we finally got the materials that we needed. And someone actually ordered some jig bait fish flies, so we're going to kind of prototype it and just do a test on these smaller hooks. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And so I think the jig hook version of the Cowan's bait fish is something I want to film. Now this is not the one that darts. This is not the darting version we're tying. At least they didn't ask me to do that. So we're going to just be tying the Cowan's bait fish on a jig hook using some lead wire. But I asked Henry what sort of hooks he was using, and these Umpaquas, these heavy size 1 jig hooks, because the person requested some size 1s. So that being said, we have, and they asked for gray and white as well. So an important material when it comes to tying these Cowan's bait fish flies, which let me see, how's our white balance looking? What's it on right now? It's on 64. Okay, I guess we'll just leave it. On the right f-stop and everything, yeah. Just my computer's kind of sideways a little bit, so let me make sure everything looks good. But we were waiting to get the flash and slinky, so we finally got our flash and slinky, which this is the proper material that Henry uses. Essentially made from the same company that makes slinky fiber, but it has flash blended in. Different than the Steve Farrar fiber. It has a different amount of flash blended in, and it's a different type of flash. So, but how's it going, Gene? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in early. All right. Side note as well, I've been starting to play guitar again too. If you're new here, we used to stream guitar on Saturday nights. I've been streaming miniature streams on Saturday nights though, playing Conflict with Chat. But I wouldn't mind in the future, we might do some guitar stuff. So I'm starting to get back into it though, but I'm building calluses on my fingers. So that's really what is kind of holding me back and getting my fingers back in, guitar shape. But anyways, because I would like to, we kind of left off because we kind of got into the clamming and all that. We stopped playing as much guitar. We kind of left off where I'd like to make just some basic backing tracks, and I'd like to ditch the epidemic sound that we're using right now because we don't even really need music. I just like having a little something in the background. And I pretty much switched over completely to the YouTube free music that they offer for all my videos, so. Alright. Anyways, little update on things. So we have our little jig hooks here. Yeah, you can get this from saltwaterflies.com from Chris. That's where I got it. So we got our jig hook here. One thing that is important with the Callan's baitfish is tying a lead keel. So we're going to need to tie a lead keel on here. Now, one thing I was wondering, is it almost better just to tie our keel directly on the bottom as opposed to wrapping the lead wire on? So that might be something that's worth trying, but I think we're just going to wrap it like usual. Doesn't need to be very large either. This is a smaller hook as well, size 1. I think the material and just the innate jig hook should be able to help us turn it over. But we're gonna, well, maybe we'll tie a couple versions. We'll see. I don't have a lot of wire though, so that's something I'd like to see. One thing we might want to do is, even though it's a pain, I might fill up the swim tank at some point. I forgot to do it, but we might fill up the swim tank and then test them out, so we probably should. So let's go ahead and do a traditional lead keel. This is a size 1. We're using 0.035, but kind of pinch it together here. The real thing is I'm working on, I got to start working, or really, I'm working on it, but I got to start really putting a lot of time and effort, and that looks about right, somewhere around there for this hook size. I'm working on the roosterfish stuff, so I really got to start cranking out a ton of those. But luckily that's not, they don't need it at the moment, but it's something I want to start working on now as opposed to last year. I got started a little bit later, so. Got some materials. I need to get some more, but I'm starting off with what I got, working on a couple colors. Alright, so we got a little lead keel on here. You know, I'm going to innately just want to pull the vise back, so let's just go ahead and get this pulled back a little. New to fly tying and recently found this channel. What's going on, D-Tom? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Glad you found us. We mostly do saltwater fly tying, as I live on Long Island, New York, and we're surrounded by saltwater, but what sort of fly tying are you getting into? So we're going to go ahead and wrap some body braid on here. Like so. So maybe let's just go ahead and do a couple shanks right now. While we chit-chat, wait for some folks to get in here. Sooner it'll be time. Sooner for you than me. It will be soon. What is it? March 24th? Probably in about 2, maybe 3 weeks. Fish will be near. Oh. Ah! Butterscotch. I didn't wrap it enough. I was lazy. That's alright. What do you call it? I'll start fishing soon. Probably in a couple weeks. Got lazy. I was looking at chat while doing it. But yeah, hopefully soon. We'll see. I don't know. I didn't catch a single fish all April by my house, and that's where we always fish, so I don't know what the deal is. We're going to wrap back on this anyway and tie on it, so it's fine. I'll tell you what, though. I think I might, just to make sure this is, scoozy. Dropped a bottle of thinner. Apply a little head cement to this before. Very small amount, just to lock it down. We're going to tie on top of it later. I've been tying so many trout streamers recently at the moment. I'm sneezing marabou. How's it going? My turn. Yeah, the the marabou gets absolutely everywhere. Marabou and rabbit strips are the worst. Marabou and rabbit strips. So the reason why we're putting the lead on here is because this is going to help turn the fly over. It's also just going to help balance the weight of the fly with the synthetic material. So it has a better sink rate and castability and all that. That's the beauty of a keel. Yeah, it's still a little cold. I don't think, honestly, the cold spring is, I think it's gonna be a little slower, but the fishing was so bad last year inshore for me. We need a good striper year, but dude, the way with the populations of striped bass, it's not looking good for us, so I don't know, we'll see. Like 4 or 5 years ago, I would just walk down by my house to the salt pond and just absolutely crush. So I don't know what's going on, but... And it's not just me. It seemed like the bay fishing was pretty lackluster last year. I think it's a lack of smaller sized fish in the spawn. But we'll see. They say a cold spring or a cold winter is good for striper spawning. Yeah, I didn't even catch a single fish in the surf, man, with the fly rod last year. It was terrible. The albie fishing was phenomenal, though, so that made up for it. But I was talking to Paul Dixon as well, like one of the top guides at Montauk. The striper fishing was almost like non-existent last fall in Montauk, which that's like, normally you drive past acres of bass to look for albies, but there just wasn't like any bass. It was weird. There was bait, too. It's crazy. I just want to make sure I get enough keels out of the flies the guy wanted. And it looks like we are. I mean, no matter what, that is what it is. So, alright, let's go ahead and tie one, I guess. I have the autofocus on. Hopefully it's working good. I live on the Gulf Coast and run a poling skiff. Oh, okay, very nice. Mostly fish for redfish, drum, and trout. Once our offshore boat is ready, I may get a 12 weight. Chase some mahi. There you go. You must get some big mahi. We get the little, the mahi like this big off Long Island. That you can catch with an 8 weight or 7 weight. Yeah, I mean, you got some great options down there. You can catch tuna with a fly rod. You can catch the cobia, right? I think you got down there. All sorts of different, like amberjacks probably or something if you go offshore or whatever. There's a lot of different options when it comes to that area for saltwater. But the inshore stuff, I love redfish. Redfish is my main thing when I've gone to Florida is chase redfish. I've always had a good time catching redfish on the fly. Puppy drum. All right. So we have our flash and slinky just to show you what it looks like. We're not actually using it at this exact step, but... So you can see it's quite different than Steve Farrar fiber, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, off Block Island, when you have a boat nearby the windmills there, the fishing's phenomenal. But, you know, those are the fish that are big enough that they were part of a successful spawn 15 years ago or something. The problem is, where's all the smaller fish that are going to be those Block Island fish 10 years from now, when those Block Island fish are all dead? That's the issue. So we need a good striper spawn. That's the thing. Doesn't mean there's not fish, but I'm telling you. Oh, God, the 90s and the 2000s, early 2000s. Oh, man. I miss them. Down for some Texas redfish, I'd be down for sure. When the funds are available for a road trip, I'll join you. I've hopped on strangers' boats many times. I haven't been murdered yet, but you know. I'll never forget the first time I caught an albie was with my buddy Tyler. He was pumping an inflatable raft, like a pontoon boat that you fish for trout, and he was going out by the inlet, and I'm like, "Are you going albie fishing on that thing?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can I hop on?" He's like, "Yeah." It was like the most dangerous thing, but hey, it worked. Actually, that time we were very safe, but we also then took it up on the North Shore of Long Island off like Rocky Point and places like that, and it was not advisable to take one of those things off in some of those rips. We like went like 2 miles out into the sound chasing albies on that raft. I was like, dude, if this thing breaks down, we're screwed. But yeah, it was good time. Me and him, we did some fly shows together, and then he went and became a tugboat captain in Alaska, supposedly, or like worked on a tugboat. But he was going down to like Mexico to go tarpon and permit fishing, and this is right before COVID hit, and I got a new phone, and I've never heard from him again, so shout out to Tyler. He's on some of my YouTube videos. He makes an appearance every now and then. All right, so I had to bring up that story because hopping on boats with strangers. With this size hook, I'm thinking we want the fly to be around that big. I don't think this guy specifically asked for a certain size. I think he just wanted a size 1. Let me take a look. Oh no, it's fucking emailed me. Is that what it was? Sorry, Jack, give me a sec. Or was it in the text? No, okay, just a 1/0. Alright, so 1/0 in this size. I'd say somewhere probably, we probably want it slightly longer. Something like this. That seems about right. Something like that. And get all the shorter hairs out of there. Hey Zeke, what's going on? Redfish is on the bucket list. Oh man, redfish are so much fun. Redfish are fantastic. So we're gonna have our stiff tail of craft fur as usual. We'll go with a tiny bit of liquid fusion to stiffen the tail. You don't even really need to use a bodkin. You can kind of just like press it in there with this. I usually kind of like taking a small amount and tying a little bit more on there and pressing it in. Because after you, seems like it always thins it down, of course, doing the fusion. Okay, might want to do a little more on the next one, but that's fine. So now it's very simple. V-ties, V-ties, V-ties. And with the length that we're working with here, let's take a look. Well, it's somewhere in the middle like this. It's pretty much just V-ties, just making sure that you tie it pretty sparse is all for these Cowan's bait fish. So we'll just kind of offset it here at an angle. And we go ahead and go with our gray on top. Pretty simple. We're going to keep it pretty sparse. I might go a little bit heavier on the first one just to get some material built up on this longer length. I'm just going to like double it up like this. And then after you cut it, you always have to taper the ends like so. Might be a little much material, a little too much. Take a little out there. So we'll just take this, tie this down a little bit. The main thing is we want to ensure that the V-ties are kind of on top and bottom properly, and we also kind of want to make sure, might have went a little too long with this one, honestly. We're going to take this off. You don't want to cover up your, we'll just cut another one a little bit shorter. You don't want to cover up your craft fur tail, so let me go a little bit more conservative before I lock it down. There you go. We can even, again, take a little bit off. Whenever I think it's the right amount, I take a little bit off, because then it's probably the right amount. You always want to err on the more sparse side with flies like this, because the material builds up so quickly. It's Flash and Slinky, though, is like getting in the way. Get out of my way. So now, just make sure it's even top and bottom before we start with our first tie. It's kind of important. This is called Flash and Slinky, which there's something called Slinky fiber, which is what this material is, but they've then mixed some Flash with it. And I will say I see the difference now. Steve Farrar fiber is definitely a little bit different consistency because of the added angel hair and the blend mixture, you know what I mean? There's definitely kind of looking already more like the Cowan's flies. Yo, Frosty, what's up, dude? I dipped on you earlier, but I was chilling, getting ready. So we're going to a little bit of super glue. Here we're actually looking today. I got to get a delay pedal. That's all I need. So I think I settled on which one I want, but once we get the setup right, I got a couple tunes going. We'll do a little jam nights on Saturdays after Mike rolls dice, or maybe on a separate stream or something. And then we got some folks that watch on Twitch that have been requesting those for a while now. Ever since the good old days. With the cranberry and vodkas flowing. Okay. Let's move forward a little bit and just clean that up. Yeah, it's called Flash and Slinky right here. So let me just zoom out a little bit, just so you guys can get the whole picture here. And again, we really don't need a lot of material, so just like sparse. And now we're going to start shortening the length of the material down quite significantly, particularly for the belly section. So one of the things that's important is making sure that not only do we have the lead keel, but we also want to make sure that by tying less material on the belly, it's going to inherently want to just turn over as well. If we have too much material on the belly, not enough on top, it's going to do the have a hard time flipping over thing. And when it comes to this top section here, let's see what sort of length we're working with. See if it's like this length. It's a little short. So we'll cut a fresh section because the top's always going to be a tad longer to help give us a natural transition in the materials. So something like this perhaps. So, again, keeping it sparse, but ideally more material than the belly section, just to help flip it over. Let's see, are they tied even top and bottom? Something that's important. Now we can start going much shorter in the length of the material. I usually do 2 ties that are somewhat longer, but still tapering down. And we're probably going to do some trimming as well, even though I'm trying to avoid doing as much trimming as possible, so we don't waste any material. So now... And as always, if you folks been tying stuff, put them in the Discord. We'll take a look later. We're going to go on the belly here, and again, shorter, so something like this will work. I hate wasting some of it, but if I start pulling it out here, it's going to... I could always re-zip tie it, but I can get away with pulling some now, but the other thing is then you end up with that crinkle. I hate the crinkle on there, so you know, we're just going to cut it. Screw it, unfortunately. But we need to go shorter anyway for the belly section, so. Sucks wasting some material. Again, try and keep it sparse. Go shorter now with the material. Again, a little bit longer on top than bottom, though. So you can see why it's called a V-tie. Well, right now it looks like an X. Once you fold it back, good to go. Oh man, the line 6 has been ordered. Let's go. Round of applause. You guys remember me jamming on my line 6. I gave that to my dad pretty much, and now I'm using the torpedo. I'm using my real orange amp, but the line 6 is so good. Frosty's getting into guitar. I'm gonna teach him. So eventually I'll have we can play live and we'll have Frosty playing rhythm. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, line 6 is like it simulates a guitar amp and the speaker at the same time. It's pretty cool. It's an amp modeler. Alright. You can see what we're kind of working with here. It's kind of hard to get the full picture on it because it's, what do you call it? Because it's being compressed by the vise at the moment, but here. Nah, I'm not taking it off. I'm lazy. It's right. We got to be patient. You got to be patient, chat. It's like a cake. Also, let me get this stuff out of the way so we can see what we're trying to work with here, you know? Hey, what's going on, Henry? How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? The creator of the bait fish fly, Mr. Henry Cowan. Yeah, so the Flash and Slinky really, I can see it is tying on the hook differently than the SF blend, too. It seems like it's, you know, it's funny because they're both like Slinky fibers mixed with Flash, but one is angel hair-esque type material, and this one's obviously some sort of like... I've used Flash like this before. I know there's a Flash like this. I forgot what it's called. It's like a scale or something, Flash. But this seems to be tying a little bit easier on there, meaning like it's... I don't know. I seem to be getting the profile of it easier for the bait fish in particular. It just might be a what do you call it? The effect where you think it's something but it's not. Whatever that term is. I completely forgot. The name of the pills where they don't do anything. Whatever that is. God, why don't I ever remember that terminology right now? Placebo. There we go. I found channel weights at Bear's Den. Will that work? Oh, yeah. Well, channel weights, I don't know. I think I know what those look like. But Henry uses like a nymph or like a scud thing. But as long as it's that similar-esque shape to where you can kind of have the lead sitting on the bottom, that's great. We just did a regular keel on this one. Now, I'm wondering if it's better to do strips, Henry, as opposed to wrapping. Because Mark Sadati does, like, the way he'll do his keels on his slammers, he'll wrap and then he'll cut strips and tie the strips on the bottom section. So I wonder for this jig version if it's better to do that. But I just went traditional and did the wrapped 3.5 keel. More Slinky with Comes Alive while SS if it is with Angel Hair. Okay, that's what it's called. Comes Alive, yeah. This particular flash material. It has a nice pseudo-lateral scale effect, which I love the lateral scale in for the surf candies. So it's a great flash. I'm going to have to start using this material more. I wonder if you do a Kinky Muddler head with this stuff. It probably looks great. Doing a Johnny Kins fly with this. Oh, Mark's too old. Yeah, I was thinking about doing the strips just to ensure that the weight's on the bottom, but with, traditional lead keel, you kind of can't go wrong. That being said, I think a lot of the hard work in turning this fly over is also ensuring that you don't have too much material on the belly section as opposed to the top, but... And the design of the jig hook, I think, help facilitate it flipping over. But we'll have to see. We might break out the swim tank and just test them before I crank out. The guy only wanted like 5, I don't know what, 6 or 10 or I don't know how many. It wasn't a lot though. But I want to make sure they're swimming good before we crank them out. So this is the most important thing right here, by the way. Which we got. Let's cut some of this short stuff off here, because once we're getting towards the end, we don't need it to be long. Take this, flip this, do that. Yo, what's going on, Traveler Flies? How's it going? How's things down there in Hawaii? How's the fly tying, the fishing been going? Again, keep it sparse. I think we're gonna do the fluoro fiber now because it looks like we got room for like one more tie. You probably could fit 2, but I don't want to overdo it, so. Yeah, we're definitely gonna trim it. And I also want to make sure, like, once we get towards the later stages, I find myself early on not spreading it as much. Once I get towards the later stage, I like having it spread a little bit more, the material. Okay, now we'll do our fluoro fiber. Yeah, actually, it's great. We got Henry Cowan watching the stream, the creator of the fly. It's not every day you get that. Then I had Alan call me the other day, Alan Kaleo or Gallo. I have to ask him how to. I think he told me how to pronounce his name, but so much jazz cabbages over the years has ruined my memory. But he actually wanted to reach out to one of my friends about an article or something, but I was laughing. all these guys. Finally got to talk to him. I was like, dude, your sight fishing for striped bass book changed my mentality on striper fishing back in the day. It's cool to be able to talk to him. All these fly tying legends. Alright, we're going to do our last tie here. We got our pink fluorofiber. Looking nice. Kalo. Alan Kalo. Okay. There you go. I was saying Kialo and Kalo. Okay, yeah. Kalo. Thank you. Alan Kalo. Okay, thank you. Look, we have troubled history already. I was calling Henry Cohen. All right, I know. I know, I'm terrible. With somebody with a hard to pronounce last name, I like to pride myself on being able to pronounce people's last names properly, so. Alan Kalo. Okay. Very good, very good. Locking it in. You got his book, great recommendation. I tell you what, I suck at sight fishing. I can never catch a fish sight fishing, but it really helped just in general with fishing the flats. So I do a lot of blind casting on the flats, and his book helped me kind of understand how they predate on the flats, what sort of bait they eat, how they kind of stack up on the flats and work edges and rips and, you know, drop-offs and stuff. Oops. So using that information, even though I can't, like, throw a fly 90 feet precisely in front of a striper, I can't even see him half the time. I don't know how people see him. But, what do you call it? I can work the edges of these offshore flats throwing crab flies and fishing them in a way that's natural and then catch fish that way. So sight fishing for striped bass is not easy, especially if you ain't have someone on a poling platform that's like 6-7 feet up higher than you looking. Because I've anchored up my boat when my boat still worked and just sat on my bow. I have a 21 foot, what do you call it? Oh my god, I can't even remember the name of my boat. That's how long it's been, dude. Steiger. I have a Steiger Long Beach. Poor thing. I would sit up on the bow of that thing after being anchored on the flats, and it's a really tall boat because it has a deep V on it. It's made for going out in the ocean and stuff. So I'm like pretty high up, and I still have, like, you know, even with nice $300 polarized sunglasses, like, you need to be in the right position of the sun. You need to know how the fish are working up the flats and the tidal section. So it's very hard. And he was doing a lot of it from shore, which blows my mind. So, sorry, I turned my mic down a little bit. I think it was a little hot there for a second. But yeah, so it's not easy. It's not easy. For sure. But, I've caught like 1 or 2 fish sight fishing on a friend's boat. And like what we did is we anchored up, we found the spot, and like we positioned ourselves on the flat on the right part of the tide. We were both like fishing during the day, during the weekday, and while everybody was working. So we were able to be out there without because the thing is, one of the biggest issues with sight fishing is all the jet ski and boat traffic going on. Like, there are people flying over the flats. There's jet skis, and we're like, dude, come on, man. Like, you're trying to like it's like freaking bone fishing or something in the Hamptons, but you're trying to fish for stripers, you know? That was always fun. But it's tough. So, but very good book, for sure. Zeke and I have decided we are packing you in the duffel for the bonefish trip. Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Something tells me they'll pick me up on the X-ray. What do you call it? Unfortunately now it's like, dude, hopefully we get some good striper fishing, because like we were going to travel to potentially for like Florida, or like we were going to go steelhead fishing in February or do all this stuff, but what do you call it? We all got so busy, me and my friends. Now between my 2 YouTube channels, I'm like non-stop I spent the past 3 days editing, and now I got to work on this video. This is what we're gonna film: the Cowan's jig hook bait fish. You got to come up with a catchy, if you got a proper name for it. But I think it was just a version on a jig hook, so you got to call it something to roll off the tongue, you know, for the YouTube title. But the big thing is now I got to do pretty much up until mid-June or July, I'm going to be tying roosterfish flies the entire time. So that's going to be my life. Editing YouTube videos and roosterfish flies every single day for the next, until about the middle or end of June for the folks at Rise Fishing Co. and like all the people that go down there every year. So, all right, let's wrap this up. Could you say the title of the book and the author? Yeah, Alan Cao. All right, I'll get the book in a second. I have it here. It's called Sight Fishing for Striped Bass. Alan Cao. We're just gonna wrap this up to give it a nicer look. I'll tell you what, though. We'll have to do like maybe one day we'll do a road trip and we'll go down and do some fishing down with Henry, Zeke. We'll have to go down to and do some lake striper fishing or something. That seems like a little bit more of a affordable trip for me. All right, this looks good. We're gonna have to trim it up. Hey, Paul. How's it going, dude? I hope you're doing well. Let me get the book. Hold on. So I tell you exactly how to spell his name. I should have asked him what his nationality was. It's this right here. Sight Fishing for Striped Bass. Alan Caolo is how you spell his name. Absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend it. That's him right there. I got this book. I don't know when it was published. I think I got it in the early 2000s. Yeah, it was published in 2001. So I was probably like 11 when I got this, or 12 if I got it in 2002. But it was probably like 2001. And yeah, part of my childhood right there, that book. And he called me up yesterday because he wanted my buddy's phone number to talk about something. And then he's like, hey, dude, I love your videos, this, that. I'm like, shut up, you're Alan Cao. You're awesome. Your books are fantastic. Why are you telling me? I'm like, who the hell am I? Hey Liam, what's going on? I'm only here 3 years, so this was my coldest winter here. Does this play a part in bait in around the back bays and shinny, etc.? Yeah, it definitely could. A super cold winter is supposed to be good for striped bass spawning and stuff, but like if the water is like really, really cold, it might take a little bit longer for the striped bass. That being said, I've actually shiner fished in March before, so in April and stuff. So the shiners are there. There's shiners that are here year round. There's some that like that are migratory, but there's bait. Like in the area I'm in, like this pond by my house, there's peanuts, or there's bunker, there's herring, there's freaking eels, there's killies and mama chugs, crabs, shrimp, shiners. There's every type of thing, but there just was a lack of fish. So I'm hoping that, I think what the issue is, we just weren't having a lot of small fish in the bay, in the back bays. There's some. In certain areas, you can always find fish, certain areas in the bay. But overall, like, you know, a healthy spring fishing, you know, you should be able to travel to different spots and catch a bunch of little schoolies here and there and here and there. So I wasn't getting that last year. So I'm hoping it's better this year. We'll find out, because I'm going to start fishing in a week and a half or something like that. And if we don't catch a fish by like April 20th, we're going to be in red alert. Okay? Because usually it's the first week or the second week of April, guaranteed, this spot here. For the past 20 years, every year, go down, catch a fish. Last year was the first year we didn't catch one. We were like, what the hell is going on? Something is not right. I know some folks that had some good fishing, but it's tough, dude, because with the fly rod, you're at a disadvantage compared to your average spin fisher with a bucktail jig, or, you know, being able to cover more ground and fish more effectively in a lot of areas, and fish sometimes with a more enticing product than a fly when you're searching, as opposed to fishing or working a specific feed, right? So it could be tough, dude. It's, you know, early in the spring, you might need to travel too, like hit up different spots, look for the warmer areas. Like in the spring video we did, look for the back bays around here that have the warm, muddy bottoms. So there's a couple areas, I'm not going to tell you where, but there's a couple areas that almost always hold fish, where there's some structure, I'll say, where a lot of people go early in the year. But I try not to go to certain spots. A lot of those fish, they're almost like holdover fish, almost. I'm looking for fish with the sea lice, you know what I mean? The nasty blues ate you up last year. Dude, appreciate that you got the bluefish bites, man. We have some of the best bluefishing, I think, in the Northeast. I'm almost convinced, here in the bay, in this specific bay. We get the jumbo up to 20 pounders, like mostly like 10 to 15 pounds, but they sit right on the surface and gestate the bunker that they were eating. Some people think they're spawning, but I'm on Ian Devlin's side, where I think they're gestating what they've been eating, because we have so many millions of pounds of bunker right outside of our inlets here. But I think because of that, we get these gigantic schools of bluefish, and they just come and they just sit in the bay. And like, I've had people message me from New Jersey, from up the island, from all parts of the Northeast, and say, dude, I have not seen that in like 20 years, but it used to happen over here in Jersey or whatever. It still happens, but I'm telling you, like, the sheer amount of bluefish, I'm talking about thousands and thousands of bluefish that are over 10 to 15 pounds sitting on the surface, sunning in the flats. It's crazy. You could spend, like, when it happens, you could spend that whole time just chasing those bluefish and just going wild. I have a video on my channel. It's the biggest bluefish I've ever caught. I don't know how big it was. I think it was freaking 20 pounds. I caught it on my kayak, on stream, live on Twitch. It was sick. But that thing was something else, dude. That thing was something. I love the big bluefish, absolutely. The thing is, though, I got tired of hooking them in the gills. So check out my video for the Bob's Banner with the circle hook, because that will, you may not hook one or two. We hooked like every single one of those things with the circle hooks, and I never hooked one in the gills, and I never had one break off either. Because I tell you what, I've had a couple die on me because they gill hooked themselves, and they're 15 pounds, so you're fighting them on a fly rod. So the poor thing is like fighting like crazy, you know. So that's one thing I don't want to do, is kill any more bluefish, because I don't like eating them. I will eat them, though. If they die, I take them home and eat them, but there's no size limit on them, right? But because I don't want to waste anything. But I don't like killing bluefish, so I'd rather let them go. So try out the circle hooks on the poppers, dude. Absolutely works phenomenally. Same with the, yeah, so there's a hypothesis, and then I'm curious to try this out. The jig hooks, it seems like with the jig hooks, you are less likely to hook fish in the gills. So I heard, I think it was Henry and Dan Blanton and Dave Blinken and the other host, who I still haven't properly remembered his name yet, because I suck with remembering names. As you guys know this already, okay? A very nice gentleman, though. And they were talking about how the jig hooks, it seems like, I forgot if Henry brought it up or if Dan brought it up, but it seems like, or somebody did, that it seems like jig hooks, you hook less fish in the gills altogether. It seems like, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because what's going to happen is you're hooking them in the top of the mouth, right? So you're kind of almost completely avoiding their gill system, because their gill system generally is on the sides and on the lower part of their body. So I'm sure you probably can hook one in the gills, but it seems like it's very unlikely, just inherently due to this shape here. It kind of prevents you from catching it, but I'm sure never say never, right? All right, let's put some eyes on here. I'm gonna stop fiddling with this. This came out pretty good, though. I think we got the right amount of material on it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to do a test. Hopefully it turns over properly, because this is a size 1, right? But it is one of those super, super crazy heavy. Hold on, I got to redo this. It is one of those super, super heavy jig hooks, so it has so much weight to it. I think it'll turn over, but I hate monofilament for this reason. This is one of the reasons why I always use super glue with monofilament throughout my ties, is that I love my waxed nylon threads because they cinch down so nice. They will never unravel on you like something like this. Damn it, Jerry. Here we go. We'll just tighten this up real quick. And I missed something. You can still sight cast the stripers on foot in Chatham in May or June. Unfortunately, Monomoy has too many seals. Really? Okay, interesting. We don't really get too many seals here. We get some. It's in the fall. The seals kind of can shut down the fishing on the beach for the day. You'll end up with like one seal that just kind of lingers the entire time you're fishing and just kind of is waiting to see if you catch something. It can be so annoying at times. Let's throw some super glue on this. I mean, I'm going to put liquid fusion on it just for now while I'm working with it. And I don't want it to unravel, obviously. Love how sparse they made it. I'm trying to be as conscious. I still feel like I overdid it a little on the belly. I feel like I can go a little less on the belly. I'm trying to be extremely conscious with how sparse, how much material I'm using with these flies. Because I tend to go a little bit heavier on my flies, just innately. That's like kind of my style. I kind of like a fly that pushes. But it is important to be sparse, and particularly with certain flies. It's important, especially with the design and all that, so. It's just changing the amount of material that's on there can drastically change how this fly can react in the water in terms of its jigging motion up and down, everything, right? Because this fly is going to have a pseudo jig motion to it with the lead keel and the way that the hook design is. Because with these baitfish flies and any sort of lead keeled fly like this with synthetics, as opposed to something like bucktail or naturals that's innately sinks slower, something like this will have because it kind of sinks at a somewhat quicker rate, it'll you can actually get some jigging motion out of it. Seals that eat ducks. There you go. Luen Cho, right? Yeah, Luen. That was his name. So I think even though this is a size 1, I think we can get away with these large eyes, because this is what I got. Which, I mean, I guess this also works too, but it's a little small for me. The problem is, this dude catches a big chunky striped bass. I don't want it to knock it off, so. But I think this works. I think there's enough surface area here like this. I mean, really, to play it safe, you use the small one, right? See what the small one looks like. Luyen Chow. Okay. Luyen. Thank you. Don't worry. 6 more streams of me asking you. I'll get it. Luyen. Okay. Yeah, someone from, I'm assuming that was, it was him, commented from Masters on the Fly saying, oh, we got to have you on the show. because I left a comment on there on your guys' video or whatever. But I told them, look, I don't know how much how much I could offer for you guys. If you want me to talk about how not to be successful in the fly tying business, but how to be entertaining, then I got you. Yeah, we got to go with the large one. Look at that, the little dinky eye. That ain't gonna work. That being said, they have a great show. I also talked to Brad Buzzy recently. I think he was just on Masters of the Fly, wasn't he? I'm waiting for them to upload the YouTube video. I want to see Brad's bucktail video or whatever. So this is not just slinky fiber. This is something called flash and slinky. So just slinky fiber. Do I have something on hand quick I can show you? It's essentially the same thing but without this flash. And the Steve Farrar fiber is technically, I believe they use exactly slinky fiber. I don't think it's a different solution, but now I'm starting to second guess. Or different, grade of it or something. But this is flash and slinky specifically, which has a different type of flash in it. Which Steve Farrar fiber is like the same material but with angel hair or winning flash. The flash and slinky is this specifically. So how do you fish a jig on a fly rod? This is not a jig though. It's just a jig hook. Yeah. How do you fish a Clouser minnow on a fly rod? That's the question. Now you really want to, you guys really want me to boil the pot? Is a Clouser minnow a jig? Yes. It essentially is just a jig, right? It's a fly jig. That's all it is. It's not tied on a jig hook. It originally wasn't. Nowadays it is a lot of times. But any sort of fly like that with the lead dumbbell eyes that and doesn't have a drastic amount of material on there to slow that down, it essentially is like a jig, right? That's the whole reason you use it. What's a jiggy? A jig hook. Virtually like a jig fly. Now, the way you want to fish it, like a Clouser minnow, generally, I like having pauses and strips, so that way you get that up and down innate jigging motion, you know what I mean? So the way you fish a jig fly, if you will, is like how you fish a jig. You don't, when you fish a bucktail jig for straight bass, you're not just casting it and reeling it like crazy. You're not just like banging it halfway up the water column, and just giving it action. You're generally bouncing it on the bottom, or you're like doing drastic pulsation, what's the right word? Like flicks of the rod to kind of get it to go up and down and whatnot. So it's like virtually the same thing you're trying to do with the fly rod. Obviously, you can't have the same control as fishing a 2-ounce bucktail jig in the surf as with a fly. But dude, I didn't even poke the glue. I just kind of like cleared the old glue away, and look at it. I didn't even squeeze the bottle. This thing's just got a mind of its own, dude. You gotta cap it quick. It's getting out of control. Got glue all over my hands now. Fantastic. There we go. Just wipe that off real quick. Yeah, rod tip is so different. So it's with your strips. Give it a hard strip, pause. Give it 2 hard strips, pause. Single hand, double hand, whatever. The main thing is you want to have that pause in between your stripping action, so that way you give enough time, even with the stretch of the fly line and all that, and yada yada yada, and the current on it for that fly to have that the weight of the fly should just naturally kind of go back down, and then you strip it, it goes whoop up, and you pause it, it's going to sink. Generally, it helps to also have something like a sink tip when you're fishing flies like this, but you don't necessarily have to. Next week, okay, cool. Slinky fiber is 1 part slinky, 3 parts angel hair. Flash and slinky is 3 parts slinky, 1 part comes alive. Okay, gotcha. So, yes, Steve Farrar fiber is 75% of the package is angel hair. And 25% is slinky fiber. With this stuff, 75% of it is slinky fiber, 25% is this different type of flash. So that's the difference between the two. Thank you for pointing that out. Slinky, Steve Farrar fiber blend, more angel hair than Slinky fiber. Slinky and Flash, more Slinky than Comes Alive Flash, it's called. Yeah, it's just do your basic. Look, you should. These are sort of the retrieves that you should also be doing with non-weighted flies, like hard strips and pauses. Just because it's not a weighted fly doesn't mean you don't want to diversify your technique that you're using while fishing. Like if you're not catching fish, mix up your retrieves. That's like one of the most important things I tell people. If somebody's new or they're fishing to an area, I'm like, all right, yeah, try this, and try this first. This is what I've been using usually, and it works. But if it's not working, feel free, try every single type of retrieve you can think of and mix it up. Like every couple casts, try, and then use that retrieve for a little bit, try a different one, do whatever, see what works. It's kind of the idea, right? It's very easy to get stuck in the same sort of rhythm, because you almost get into this rhythm while fly casting and stripping. So if you're sitting there talking to your buddy and you're just casting and you're stripping, it's very easy just to do the same exact thing over and over again, which isn't the worst. But if you're fishing for like hours and you're just not catching anything, dude, then like maybe don't do the same thing over and over again, because I find myself doing that at times. I have to remember. Like, I feel like I should be catching something right now. There definitely could just not be fish feeding here in this area at this time. But it could be that I'm just not presenting the fly properly. You know what I mean? That'll fish. Oh, well, thank you, Henry. Hopefully it looks good. We're going to let this dry. We still need to put liquid fusion and all that. So I don't know if we will be able to swim them, but we're going to tie a couple more and just keep chit-chatting. So looks pretty good, though. Looks pretty good. I'm going to have to tie a couple of these up for myself. Well, again, he didn't order that many, and we got a good amount of hooks. We got 20 hooks. So we're going to do some... I can use these hooks possibly as well. I don't know if they're long enough for that darting side-to-side one. I think we need longer ones for that, but... tie some of these. Maybe I'll tie... like a bunch of colors. Excuse me. And these aren't really the sort of flies you want to put in a fly box either, so this is great because I'm lazy and I don't use a fly box. I just throw them in my wading pocket. I usually bring like 2-3 flies, go down to the creek by my house. I'm old school. What I really want is, I want a leather fly wallet. I know somebody like makes them and sells them on eBay. I've been like following this dude for so many years and I never bought one. I'm going to do it. I want to buy a leather fly wallet like freaking Kenny Abrams or somebody. Because I hate having a bulky... The thing is, I got a bad back. So, like, having a bulky fly box jammed in my waders, it, like, puts pressure on my back and stuff. I hate carrying a backpack because my back, the waders already hurt my back. So I need, like, I want, like, a cool leather fly wallet. Because I remember seeing dudes back in the 90s, like, back when I was a kid, pull out, like, a leather fly wallet. You know what I mean? They look like they were some, like, 1800 trout fishermen or something. And pull out like a albie fish, and some old dude pulls out like some sort of deceiver fly or some sort, you know. I loved it. I'm gonna take a little bit more off the belly here. I am a little worried that it's gonna not turn over properly, but you know what? It's so sparse. So, but there you go. That's a profile that's a finished profile we're looking for right there. Which I tell you what, I gotta tie some of these for the guys going rooster fishing. They've been wanting me to like tie some other flies, and they want this, they want that, they want this. Even though this isn't a 3D fly, I'm gonna tie one of the guys. I'm gonna be like, yo, take some of these and try them out for roosters. Let me know how they work. I don't know if we'll tie them on a jig hook, but they always want the like freaking 3D kinky muddlers and the airheads and stuff, but I don't know. I think this fly would probably do pretty good. Be like, look, when you guys have caught your 20 rooster fish for the, for the first couple hours, put on this. I'm sure it works fine, but I'm just curious because they want some other patterns. They keep trying to get me to tie these other airhead fly in particular and stuff. Have a great weekend, fellas. He's gonna love you. Hey, hey, Henry. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Round of applause. Round of applause. Okay. Looking good, chat. Looking good. We'll let this dry up, and we'll tie some more of these. And again, we'll get a little close-up of that pink fluoro fiber, though. Check that out. You could see how, like, fluorescent it is right there. You see that? It almost looks like neon or something with how the light hits it, but... I just ordered some jig heads to tie up some bucktails. Any recommendations on thread? Rod building thread, I believe is what they use. Yeah, I think it's rod building thread. I don't know if there's a specific thickness, but I think it's just rod. It's like red rod building thread, if I'm not wrong. You might be able to look on... We could look on Lure Parts online real quick. Hold on. What do they use for threads they recommend here? Are they just going to show all the fly tying threads? Yeah, they are. So let's see. No, these are all these are all fly tying, I used to... Bob Popovic's recommended rod building thread, I think it was. Size A? Okay. Size A. Let's see if that works. No. Ah, here we go. Rod thread, size A. There you go. Yep. So this in like red. You know, maybe not 950 yards. Maybe like the small ones that you can actually use. It looks like a 100-yard one or whatever. Like this. Not size D, but size A one. Yeah. In red. For your classic red with the white head bucktail jigs. Yep. It's way thicker and it's way stronger. So here's the thing. If you tried building up those bucktail, because I've tied bucktail jigs in the past. If you tried building up the large heads, you know how they have those like thick thread heads? Because you want it to be thick. You don't want it to be a little material because it's going to get beat the hell up. Or C is thicker. So you could try C, for instance, then as well. Maybe try C. I don't know. But also then it might build up too bulky. Maybe get a couple different sizes. I don't know. But the main thing is, compared to regular fly tying thread, you'll be able to build up the bulk pretty easy, as opposed to, and get that nice thread head with the red thread. So, yep, no problem. I haven't bought myself anything in a while. This is what I'm thinking about right here. I need a delay pedal. It's about time. A is what you use to build a fly rod. C is what you use for offshore thread wraps and intricate wraps. Okay, then get C. C sounds about right. Yeah. C sounds right. C sounds like what you'd use for a larger saltwater rod or something. But I don't know. You might need to try it out. All I know is I just got some random rod building thread, and that's what I used to use back in the day. Okay, we're going to take a quick little break, chat. I'm going to grab a drink because we're all out. And what do you call it? We're going to keep on tying and chit-chatting. If you guys got any questions or you want to talk about anything, we're going to tie another Cowan's bait fish here. And what do you call it? I'm tying these for an order. And then I also need to tie just freaking hundreds of kinky muddlers. So we're going to be getting to that off stream, of course. Because otherwise you guys would absolutely never want to see a kinky muddler again if that's all I stream for the next however many months. All right, but we're going to take a quick little break. We'll play our Albia Wave video. And I'm just going to go grab a drink, chat. If you've been sitting down for a little while, it's been like an hour and 20 minutes or whatever. Stand up, just stretch, hit the hookah lounge. I'll see you down there. And we'll be back for some fly tying in just a moment. Where's the button? Here it is. Boop. Stay tight, alright? Yep, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. Alright, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
Alright. Nice.
Let's go! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro. On the alligator too. Oh my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god! I gotta turn the boat so I can cast. Oh my god, dude! Alright, get back to catching it, Diego.
Frigates.
Howdy.
Frigates.
Frigate.
All right, we're back. Okay. Let's keep on tying, shall we? I'm gonna whip up another one of these, make sure the eyes look straight before we put her down. That looks good. Let's do one from scratch. No, I just washed my hands. We'll use this one. I hate having lead on my hands. Definitely wash your hands after you're messing with the lead. Definitely helps. All right, make sure we're lined up perfectly. Go ahead and wrap all that thread down. This will help lock down this body braid too. Yeah, so I think this is going to be the next video. And then I want to do the jumbo version of the fly. I need to get big hooks for that. So I don't know, we'll do that one after, so I don't do too many Cowan's bait fish in a row. You know what I mean? All right. So, we know what to do. I'm going to try and go even sparser on the belly this time, especially near the end, for my own personal sanity, that is. We're just going to get our craft fur here. Get all the short stuff out of the way first. Line it up. We're going to need more than that too. What was the length we ended up going up with a one odd like this? Yeah, right around there. About 3.5, 3.25. Sounds about right. I just know with like certain size hooks where it goes back to on my vise what the size of the fly is, because I've tied thousands and thousands and thousands on this Regal head. Maybe not this exact one, but virtually identical, so same specs. So we'll go ahead and just add a little bit more here, because you don't want it to be too sparse. We can go ahead and give it the old liquid fusion treatment. And we might go with just a little bit more craft fur. It's like, I don't know why I always do it, but I put some on, I wet it down, it thins down a little. I'm like, let me add a little bit more. Part of the tradition. Definitely not time efficient. Most certainly not time efficient, but it's like flicking the light switch on and off 3 times. You know what I mean? You ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? It's like, Mom, why do you keep flicking the light switch and everything and touching everything 3 times? Oh, I do that so you don't die. So good. She just shuts the lights off in a little ritual. All right. Sparse, sparse, sparse. It's the word of the day. Today, sparse. I'm seeing like somewhat of a natural taper in here, and I don't know if I necessarily like that, because it's like it doesn't seem like all the material is the same length, or maybe that's just somewhere where I already cut it. That's probably what's going on. It's a little bit, no, look, even here it's a little, I mean, it's kind of nice when you're just cutting it off and tying it on with a larger fly, but with a smaller fly it's kind of annoying because you end up with some waste. This might be too short, but I'm going to do an experiment. Let's see. This actually might be perfect. Yeah. Kind of really don't want it too long on the belly. And we can work while the liquid fusion is drying. It's water-based. It's not harmful in any way. I don't know if I would drink it. Don't do that, but you got to worry about getting on your hands too much. So we'll go ahead and take our gray here. Also, this music was cool at first, but now I'm like falling asleep. Let's mix it up. There you go. A little better. Make sure we're top and bottom straight. And let's go ahead and fold her back. Have you offset a little bit with our V-tie. It's not directly top and bottom. As you saw with our mono thread before, we're going to put some super glue. Always a good idea. There's some serious flash. It looks great. But the thing that's crazy is there's so little of it compared to Steve Farrar fiber, where there's 75% of the material in the PAX flash, like Henry was talking about. It's just a really, really like vibrant flash, strong flash, because it's a much thicker material that has like a crazy intricate pattern on it, like a lateral scale, for instance. Got any stripers your way yet? No, not yet. We'll probably start fishing the first week of April, but won't catch anything, hopefully, till the second week of April. I say hopefully because hopefully we catch something this spring. But yeah, usually it's in my area, it starts around second week of April. We'll actually have, like, you know, the 12th or the 14th, I usually catch my first fish year after year. Last year it was terrible, but I'm hoping this year we get some decent action for sure. Take a little bit of stuff out here. Well, that's a little too much. Sparse. Can never be sparse enough, especially on the belly. That goes for bucktail, synthetics in general. Sparser the better. Okay, now, see, this is the issue. Now some of the stuff's pulling out. I'm gonna have to like repackage it because it's literally gonna start falling everywhere. I didn't even pull any out of that one. It's just working its way out naturally. Got some of this stuff here. Fold it back. Come on now. Getting a little Wile E. Coyote. You gotta fight it a little bit sometimes. Yeah! It's bucking Bronco. Make sure we also spread this material around right now. Try to be a little bit more conscious of it. Again, building up that profile. Yeah, we'll be striper fishing at some point soon. I think starting tomorrow, I'm gonna start spending like a significant amount of time every day tying those rooster fish flies. So, because we gotta. Well, actually, fuck, I gotta get that video done too. Thing is, I have 2 YouTube channels I gotta make videos for. I have a bunch of flies I'm tying early in the spring, usually now this time of year, with the rooster stuff. So, I gotta make sure I balance my time and then still get at least. I'm gonna try and go fishing for a couple hours every day down here. We'll do some live streams too. I don't know how that's gonna work with the restream, to be honest with you, but traditionally the live streams on the phone have been terrible in terms of service. So I'm not really certain how it's gonna work if we can even do it with restream, but we could try it, I guess. I think they have a way of doing it. We'll have to see. I don't know. That or we'll have to alternate. I think that was one of the reasons we stopped doing it, because I could only stream on one platform, actually. I think that is one of the issues. They don't have restream for mobile yet. But we might need to just split up the streams between the platforms or something. I don't know. Or bite the bullet and do one place. It's a little long. We're going to trim that down. Can even go shorter. Make sure we leave ourselves enough room to work with stuff. I use the custom ingot ink. You can stream direct to Restream, then do a remote login on your phone. Interesting. Okay. I'll have to take a look into it. I'll hit you up, I guess, if I got any questions. Because I was looking, I think they said they were doing a beta for their mobile stuff. As long as it doesn't require like a backpack setup or something like that. I can only do it on my phone, so. I think you got a backpack setup, didn't you? I saw on your Instagram or something. Congrats. Or some sort of complicated live setup it looked like for fishing. Hopefully it didn't cost you an arm and leg, because they usually do. Hence why I haven't done it yet. I was tempted to, but then I actually got serious and looked into the prices from that one company that was doing it. Making the backpacks like Shook uses. So I think the way to do is build your own one, but even then, it still wouldn't have, still would have been a little pricey for me at the time. Even now. You just have a second connection, gotcha. So you went with a hotspot. Invent a hat that has a satellite dish on it. Perfect. I'm sure my fly line will never get caught on that. Go ahead and do our last 2 ties here. We got to do our fluoro fiber before we finish. Make sure our ties are even. Maybe we can talk about it? Yeah, sounds good. I think I get what you're saying. So I'm guessing I set up my stream key. Because usually you log in, right? So can I use like... I usually was using Streamlabs, had issues with Streamlabs, and I was using Stream Elements, which was better. But I guess I could always try Prism or something. I've heard I know other folks use it. It's all about setting up the RTMP thing, right? Yeah, the CIA definitely has something. The CIA can, I'm sure, will get perfect connection on my phone if they wanted to stream on it. Yeah, for sure. Or Homeland Security or something, yeah. Luckily, I don't think there's any reason they need to spy on me. Alright, we'll throw a little flash on here. RTMP to the key from Restream. Okay. So you would... how would this work? You would stream direct to Restream, and then Restream would just broadcast it, right? But I would need to set it up like beforehand, or I would have to go on my phone on the browser and remote log in to Restream on my browser, and then change the titles and everything, I'm guessing, or something. That seems like how the connection would work, right? It's hard for me to visualize it. Like visualizing how you line up your guitar pedals. Have stereo and stuff. Like, what? Yeah. Alright, cool. I'll hit you up at some point when we got closer to the season. Believe me, it's not going to be a large conversation. Not that we don't have to chit-chat, we can. But I'm sure it'll be fairly simple once you explain it to me. Let's get some fluoro fiber. Trying to be neat with this stuff with how I've been cutting it off, but... I want it to be pretty short too, so you don't end up trimming it by accident. Oops. Stuff's pretty strong, believe it or not. I'm actually gonna... This might be a little much. I'm gonna save some of it. You don't get much of it, so it's... Even though it's only a couple bucks, I like to think that it's gold, and it's so valuable. Because it is the secret sauce, according to Henry, so... Use it sparingly, I think. You don't want to go too crazy with it. You want to start catching more fish? Use pink fluoro fiber, Chad. All right. And then if it doesn't work, you can blame Henry. No. I mean, you can't deny it. It does make the fly look better having that pink throat in there like that. Yeah, what's going on, Frankenstein Ape? How's it going? I want to be fishing, not messing with electronics. That's one of the reasons I stopped streaming fishing, because I would have so many issues with the stream dropping, and I would be trying to fix the stream when I'm really just trying to enjoy my time fishing after, you know, tying flies all day. The last thing I want to do is be messing with that. Deceiver tail with hackles would make a nice rudder. Yeah, so I've tied these with deceiver tails. They're nice. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. You could certainly... Henry uses the craft fur, but you could certainly throw use your own... put your own twine on it, you know what I mean? But yeah, keeping it simple is definitely important. Just a phone and maybe an external microphone, which I stopped using because they always kept rusting and I got cheap. But for a while, it was just a phone, a mount, and a battery pack you need, because the phone will die. So you do need a battery pack. The problem is everything's saltwater, right? So I don't know about you, but all my battery packs, all my microphones, everything rusted. So I constantly have to get new stuff, because you catch a striped bass while you're waiting, or in a kayak, and you're fighting it next to the boat, and that thing starts splashing. It just soaks your whole phone, your whole setup. The bluefish were doing it. Kick a little side to side. Oh, you mean like tie them sideways, or what? You could add little feathers off the wings for, what do you call it? For little, like, pectoral fins. Is that the right term, right? For the side fins on a fish? I think so. I'm gonna add just a skosh more. Like so. And we'll take some of this longer hair here. Oh, fuck. Yeah, this stuff's already falling out. I'm gonna need to, like, put it in a bag or something. It's annoying. Happens to the best of us. Let's go ahead and get some thread on here. And fold it back. Yeah, we can actually try some. I think, what time is it? Still not used to the YouTube thing. Oh, yeah, we got some time. We could tie another one and maybe incorporate some feathers, because you kind of gave me an idea. If we wanted to go like try and go hyper realistic bait fish look and like put the feathers on the sides and the tail, that might be cool. See, I could always like add one more collar there, but you can overcomplicate things by trying to go too far up the hook shank when it comes to working around a jig. Keep yourself in a waterproof pack. That's good. Running the hotspot, the phone, mic, action cam, battery bank. I like running the action cam because then you can put the phone in your pocket. Yeah. No, the action cam looks sick too. Problem is, like, all that stuff, it would just absolutely kill my back. Like, the least amount of stuff, the better. I stopped, like, even carrying, like, if I go down by my house, I'll use my backpack because there's a nail on the post. There's, like, a no wake sign. I can put my backpack on. Otherwise, I stopped fishing with backpacks and stuff because my back is killing me all the time. I've had different phones too. Some phones have been really nice with streaming and like the phone quality and like when it gets dark, and like other phones have been crap. My current one, which is like a Samsung S24, one of the newer phones, it's not that good for streaming, it seems like. I don't know. I've had issues with it. Just the camera wasn't as good as some other ones I've had in the past, older ones. For streaming in particular or something. I don't know, the bitrate, the pixelation. Maybe the processing, I don't know. Or the encoding. Whatever it's using. It's not bad, but you're always looking for improvements with streams. Without making things too complicated, of course. That's not too bad, though. That's about right. If I was a spry young lad like yourself, I'm sure we're probably close to similar age, too. If I wasn't always complaining about my back and I had the funds, that would be the exact setup I'd be running. Because the action cam's great. And the hotspot is just a backup for your... So you kind of did like a mini backpack, but you don't have the custom RTMP server thing. Like the Pi computer running it in the background at your home that you're sending it to. Like that's the next step up. So you have so like when you lose connection, you have your be right back thing, you know, and stuff like that. That's something you can do. You can like build one of those Raspberry Pis, those microcomputers, and then you can have it set up to where it can run all that stuff in the back for you in the background or something. You do relay it? Okay, nice. There you go. So you can set up that on your like Raspberry Pi or whatever to where it has all that, so the stream scenes changes and everything for you from your phone. Okay, gotcha. Cool. Yeah, man. Mind you, this was like freaking 5-6 years ago. I was looking into this, so hopefully things have gotten easier too in that regard. So let's just see how are we looking. Maybe a little bit more off the side here. I just want to make sure that it is not too much material anywhere. That looks good, because we are still going to glue the eyes on. That'll change the shape somewhat. But I'm enjoying this fly. This is a fun fly. So I'm going to have to tie some of these maybe for some of the local shops or something. Ozbot came out with a device that is like a small tablet that does all this stuff for you that a backpack does, like $800. Way too, still too expensive, but way cheaper. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good to know. You know what? Before I die, chat, we'll actually have probably have an IRL stream set up on the boat. That's badass. That won't cost thousands of dollars, but it'll be like 70 years old. I'll just have like a chip implanted in my head that you guys can see like directly out of my eye, like a cyborg. All right, chat, we're gonna go fishing. Ask the maid to empty that wastebasket. Nah, that's barely. What are you talking about? We're barely got enough material in there. Look, there's a whole inch. Look, and I can push it down too. Mind you, I've already pushed it down already, like multiple times. Look, we got more than enough room in there, Gene, all right? You're slacking. You're wasting too much time emptying the wastebasket and not tying enough flies. No, I should have emptied it a while ago, of course. I'm just lazy. And it's kind of like, it's kind of amusing also at the same time, just having it filled to the brim with stuff in the background of the stream. I'm long past the point of like, you know, if I just started streaming like a couple months ago and I was like, okay, let me make sure I'm dressed nice and I'm going to do this and we're going to have the wastebasket cleaned. Nah, we're way past that. You guys get the real deal. The real LI Flies, Mike. Not the, you know, the sham. That's a term for like a phony, right? A sham. That's not just a term for like a towel that you can clean a car off with, right? I'm not tripping. I think that's a term, right? You sham. Or is it just a cloth? Am I thinking of something else? Am I thinking of scam? A sham. Is a sham a term for somebody that is a phony? Or is it just a cloth? Now I really don't know. I need your help, chat. Is that like an old term? Or am I literally just mixing up the microfiber towel? Like the sham wow. And I'm mixing the term scam up. Sham is correct. It's just some of those words that people haven't said since Prohibition. Gotcha, okay. Like it's false. Yeah. Gotcha. It is a word. I just haven't heard anyone say it in the modern day English for I can't tell you how long. That's how long it's been. I'm like, is that just a towel? A chamois? It's like a, you know, a short name for a chamois, like a sham. Hey, hand me the sham over there. Hey, yo, whoa. You gotta think of like some Italian guy in Brooklyn. Yo, whoa, watch out for my car. I got my sham cloth or something. I don't know. I'm working on my accents for Mike Rolls Dice. Got my generic evil World War II German accent. 9! The Americans are coming! And then I got the, let's see, the British one kind of sucks, but it takes a little time to get into the British one, so I'm not going to do it because I'm just going to embarrass myself. And then there's the gnomes that I just did the voices for in the video that's coming out tomorrow. And it's, oh wait, come on, Lou. He's like, we are the Yardigans. You got to do like, you got to squeeze your cheeks in. I've been having to do freaking voiceovers on my battle report, so now I'm like trying to do accents and stuff. So I'm like sitting there practicing my accents so I don't sound like an absolute idiot. Not successful in that part. Still sound like an idiot, but you know, we're getting somewhere. Sham is a hoax. Yeah. Okay. I'm not an idiot. It was the correct term. There's a stream I've been watching for years called Djibouti Show. I can't recommend it enough. Fantastic. And they did an AI stream where the, like, Sora just came out, which is the program that you can use to generate AI videos. And they generated like a wrestling, like 90s style wrestling video where it was the three of them versus the ShamWowsler, and it was the dude covered in ShamWow cloth. And the AI came up with like the craziest dude covered in the ShamWow cloth. But I was just thinking about that the entire time we were talking about shams and chamois. So I had to bring it up because it was in the back of my head. This dude covered in ShamWow cloths like a 90s wrestler. Do my Indian? No. I'm not doing the Indian one. I don't have the... You got to be careful with the accents. You don't want to do anything that could get you canceled 20 years from now. All right. I'll work on the Indian one, though. What do we got going on? Let's tie one more for fun here. We got those for a customer. Let's tie one and add maybe some feathers off to the sides. Yeah, you got to watch out. I've been saying down with the clankers because some of the armies have robots in them. And that's a term that people use nowadays to, like, say, you know, down with the AI. Take down the clankers. You know, when Sarah Connor... That's like something Sarah Connor would say if they made Terminator nowadays, right? But what happens in the future when robots become... They get the rights of people, like 60 years from now, and you get tried in San Francisco for saying down with the clankers or something by, like, a robot tribunal. We sentence you to death. You got to watch out, dude. You got to be careful, okay? I've seen Idiocracy. I know how it works. I've seen Terminator, and I've seen Mike Judd movies, okay? Something tells me the robots will, they're not going to be happy, okay? The ChatGPT death drones are going to be coming for us. Down with the clankers! That's one of my favorite things to say nowadays. Because people always joke about it, like, dude, you gotta be nice to the AI or AI overlords. They're gonna remember it. I just picture Sarah Connor, like, with the sunglasses. With a shotgun. Blowing up someone's smartphone. Yeah, luckily I don't have Alexa or something. She'd be listening to me right now. One of you guys probably do, though, and you're probably ratting me out with your AI Google Home. It's listening to me right now. It's probably recording all of this, and it's going to... I'm going to be brought in front of the robot tribunal in the future because of one of your guys' Alexas watching my stream. Damn it. Should have known. By the way, I'm using this really light lead because... Well, I have it, and I don't have a lot of the heavy stuff, so we might as well use it. Quick, take your Alexa, put it in the bathtub. And then you can take it out when the stream's done. Yeah, I'm very much so, like, anti-AI in general. I hate all the AI ads. The AI thumbnails I'm not a fan of. I even see it in fishing now. I see all these AI thumbnails on YouTube people are using. I just hate it. It's in everyday ads on TV. It's in YouTube ads. It's in this, that. It's on every program they want to use AI now. uses so much energy. I just hate it, but whatever. It's the future. I'm sure it's going to be crammed into every remote control and refrigerator over the next however many years before the Skynet situation happens. Oh my god, my Samsung refrigerator is attacking me, help. There's like rocket launchers coming out of it. There's supposed to be milk there, but it's got a freaking Browning 50 cal inside. What the hell's going on? Alright, we're gonna wrap this up. But for now, enjoy the silly videos, because one day Arnold will come back from the future. You're gonna have to run from the mall, ride the motorcycle down the drainage ditch. That'd be badass, dude, having Arnold Schwarzenegger chase you on a motorcycle. You're on a dirt bike through LA. That was such a cool scene. Such a good movie. And Arnold, and I saw a thing on a YouTube short. They actually had a stunt dude rigged up with cables that actually drove the motorcycle off onto the the water ditches that they have in LA or whatever. Some dude actually drove off that thing with a motorcycle, but they had like a suspension cable on him so he didn't like break his back or something. But someone, like some stunt driver actually did that. That was so sick. Because I remember watching that movie as like a kid and being like terrified that there was like an invincible robot man chasing this kid. Such a good movie. All right, what are we doing? Now I want to watch Terminator, to be honest with you, but let's go ahead and tie a little craft fur, and then we'll add some feathers. We're gonna tie another one of these. Yeah, the T-1000 was freaking cool. I do like. I think I like maybe the second one better though, where Arnold's actually protecting the kid. You know what I mean? The first one's freaking crazy with him trying to take out the kid. But with the other actor who's like the cop or whatever chasing them. That scene where he's chasing the car and he's got like the claw hand, he's like gets into the car. I remember that specifically. That was wild. We rented it from Blockbuster. I was like, "Oh my god." Cuz Arnold was I always liked Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've watched so many movies with him. Commando was one of my favorite movies back in the day as a kid. And, of course, Predator. You know what I mean? So I think I saw those before I saw Terminator, maybe. Because that's just what my dad showed me or something. I don't know. Who the hell knows? Or what was on Stars or whatever. I don't know. What we rented. But anyways. I was like, why is Arnold trying to kill him? He does such a good job, too, being like an emotionless robot, dude. Just endlessly, non-stop trying to find him. Such a good movie. I actually just went back and watched Starship Troopers like a week ago. Man, such a good time. It's free on Pluto TV, so you could literally go watch it right now if you want. They just play a couple ads every once in a while, but totally respectable. It wasn't bad. But that's such a good movie, Starship Troopers. Ugh. Such a good movie. Classics. What's going on, Slim Thunder? Yeah, he wasn't a T-1000. I think the guy was a T-1000, right? The guy that was trying to take him out. He was like one of the earlier models, not the same one that came to try and in the first one. I don't know. There's some sort of complicated thing. Who cares? I always forget the details. I just remember they go to the one dude's house who like worked at Skynet and they were trying to shut it down, and then they go to the office, and I think that's where that scene happens where they get away in the car and the one he's chasing them. That's what I always remember. Such a cool movie though. YouTube every once in a while, so they have YouTube movies, for instance, where you can like pay to watch movies, but they also have free movies, and they rotate movies in and out. And every now and then you'll see some really good movies, like old school bangers from the 90s and the early 2000s that I grew up, like the classics or late 80s. So keep your eye open because they got some good stuff. Oh, I mean, Spaceballs, Mel Brooks, dude. What are we talking about? Of course. All the old classic Mel Brooks movies are fantastic. There's the one where they're like in Rome or something, like Jesus' time, I think. But I will say, Spaceballs is fantastic. My dad like forced me to watch Monty Python growing up. It was also like they had the BBC that we had here in the U.S. that it was also on. But all of the Monty Python movies, not only just the Holy Grail, but there was like the Meaning of Life, I think. There's, I don't remember, it might be from the Meaning of Life, but I've talked about it on stream years ago. The scene where there's like, they're in office buildings, and they're like office workers, but the buildings are like ships or something, and the ships, they board another office, and they fight the other office workers, and they're all dressed like pirates, but, I mean, they're dressed like office dudes, but they're acting like pirates and killing each other, like, it's crazy. That I specifically always remember that as a kid. And then there was that one Monty Python scene where like death comes to the house or something. I don't know. So many good movies, dude. It was so much fun going to Blockbuster on a Friday night and renting a game and a movie. I'd rent like a PlayStation game or like a Nintendo 64 game, Sega, whatever. And then we'd get a movie, and then also we'd go back, drop it off Sunday, and then we'd rent a movie on Sunday. Drop it off the next morning or something. Good times. The old Blockbuster days. Life of Brian, yes. Alright. Obviously, though, the Holy Grail is like the classic with the coconuts. That's just so ridiculous. Them running around with coconuts. It just made me giggle, and I've seen it so many times. But the knights who say knee, so many just good. The holy hand grenade, the rabbit. I'll never forget the first time I saw the scene with the rabbit. Oh my god. Holy hell. I just died laughing seeing that. You could also do an inverted flat wing. That would be kind of funky. But we're going to do some hackle like this. Almost like V tented shape, I should say. One dude that has like a Honda with straight pipes or something that constantly sounds like a fart can. Alright. I can hear him through my windows just now before. Fighting the knight with no limbs. Yeah, 'tis but a flesh wound. What do you mean? He's like, I really don't think you're in any shape for fighting, sir. I mean, he's whoosh, whoosh, he cuts his arms off, his legs, everything, yep. Just his head, like, is on the ground. Well, come at me. That and a healthy dose of 90s SNL with the late, great Chris Farley was my all-time favorite. But, of course, Adam Sandler and everyone. That was my... growing up on that era of SNL definitely gave me like my sense of humor and everything, all those movies and all that. I was lucky. I got to watch a lot of good stuff. Exposed to the good shit. That and good music. But yeah, luckily my dad has a sense of humor, so I got to watch all that fun stuff. Just gonna get some white material for the belly here. We're gonna go sparse as usual. And guess what? Well, hey, when you tie it sparse, you also get way more material out of the package, which is always something I like. More flies we can get out of a package of material, the better. And I think that goes for all of us, not just someone who commercial ties like me. So we're going to try and add some feathers to this thing and kind of get it, just go a little funky with it. You'll see. And I got some hard riffs here on Epidemic. I forgot. We're getting near the bottom of the songs that way back in the day I added to the playlists. Looks good though. Maybe just a little bit more. Don't forget, we're not done yet, but we're getting closer towards near the ends of the stream here. So make sure you guys put your flies in the Discord. We'll take a look before we finish the stream tonight, of course. This is for the personal collection. Try the feathers out. Sanford and Son, Archie Bunker. I don't think you could show. Isn't Archie Bunker the one grumpy guy who would always be sitting on the couch? I don't think you could show him nowadays. Benny Hill, man, you guys are definitely in a different generation than me. For sure. I was like watching like Nickelodeon or something. I don't think I was alive when most of those shows were on. So I haven't watched much of them. I'm trying to think what's like the oldest comedy sort of show that would maybe rerun that I watch, but I can't really think of. Just come to a blank. I was born in the I was born 90, so all that like early 90s-esque TV show stuff is in movies. And then 80s as well, because 80s was still like they were showing 80s stuff and whatnot. Of course, on TV or on Stars or whatever, once we started getting those. Yeah, I remember watching Archie Bunker, and I remember they were like, yeah, I don't know if they could show this show nowadays. Times have changed. But it seemed like a good show. Go ahead and fold her back. Super glue, super glue. Okay, I'll take a look after stream. Sounds good. I've been taking a look. I've been taking a peek. Mr. Green Thumb, very nice. Very nice, very nice. But I'll take a look after stream. All right. Let us add some. So I want to add like pectoral feathers at some point. I think we do 1 or 2 more ties and then we'll add it. Maybe the one before the fluoro fiber or maybe the one with the fluoro fiber. I'm not really certain. Something like that. You'll see. I want to add the fins on the sides. I think that would be cool. I should have really maybe like... Now I have areas where I cut it and it's like blending with the other one. I should have like just yanked it off instead of being lazy, but whatever. Let me just cut this. And I'll cut it in a couple pieces because we still have a couple more ties to do. Nice and sparse, nice and sparse. Don't forget. Actually, this could probably be, well, whatever. Try and keep it shorter, but it's fine. Go like this, like this. Probably just going to end up trimming it, but should have made it shorter, but we'll just end up trimming it. It's fine. Spread our material around, yada, yada, yada. Keep it sparse. Hen saddle would work for the fins. Yeah, I'm just going to find something webby. I don't have hen saddle specifically, but... Or sorry, I'm sure I have some hen-like feathers. We just need something wide and webby. Even, I have the jungle cock. Wide and, like, webby feathers that you can use for the eyes. That actually might work really well for something like this. Probably want to do it at some point right about now after this one. Spacing wise. Because you kind of want it hidden underneath the material slightly. That's what I'm thinking at least. Let's take a look at that jungle cock hackle. You'll see what I'm talking about. Where is that anyway? Did I put that? Here. I think I stuck a bunch in here because I used the fluff from that jungle cock hackle. I did for my emu minis. Yes, this is what I was thinking. This will probably work. Something like this. Hey Noah, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Appreciate it. Now, do we take like dubbing wax and put it behind the feather or something just to like tighten it up? I think what we're gonna do is like get them even feathers wise. We could also have it out like this, which could be interesting. I think that's how we want to do it, right? So we actually get like, you can actually like kind of see the feathers. She recognized the voice. You have been watching me for quite a long time, Swim Thunder. It's been a while. Some of you folks have been watching me for close to a decade now at this point. I don't think it's been that long for you, but close. We're getting close to it, so tell her well, she can probably hear it. I say hi back, so hope you guys are doing well. Starting to heat up down there in Arizona or what? Yeah, it's crazy to think, man. Some of you folks have been watching for so freaking long. Crazy to think we've been streaming that long now. Haven't ended up homeless in a van yet. One of these days we'll get there. There was Mike Ross down in the van down by the river. Yes, these are the jungle cock hackles. Cheers. I watched some of Cheers, I think. That was the show at the bar. You know, I don't know if I could go back. I don't know, because I remember that would like be like a show that was on. It would be like a show that would, you know, they'd rerun. That was just like too old. Maybe I have to be older to watch it, but I don't know. If I tried to watch that nowadays, I'd still feel like a little kid again. I'd be like, this is on the TV? Like, come on, when's the good stuff getting on? You're like waiting for other shows to get on or something. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Never say never, I guess. Never watched MASH or anything like that. Ah, this is the redhead. Okay, well, thank you. Hopefully you guys are doing well over there. It's hot as hell. God damn. Yeah, we still are like 40s and 50s here, so it's crazy, you guys. It's almost like you're in the southern hemisphere with how hot it is over there year round. Oh. Good thing is you don't gotta worry about the pipes freezing, so that's good. I know it still gets cold out there, I'm sure, during the nighttime and whatnot, but all right. Is this white? Yeah, we got white over here. Is that enough white? Still looks like might have went too long with that, but that's okay. Tie in the stem and double over to secure. I forgot about that. We did that somewhat recently in the Paul Monahan fly, I think. Yeah. This will work. But I get what you're saying. It is a little bit more secure. This will be fine. That was quite a lot of pressure I just put on there. But that way you can tie it normally. You can just fold it back, get a good double wrap on it. See what you're saying. 100? Oh, man, that's crazy. Well, stay cool. Stay cool. I'm sure you guys got some good AC or fans over there. Some nice fresh air. Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where I can sit outside and smoke a dirty in the morning and drink coffee, or drink my tea. I don't drink coffee anymore. I haven't drank coffee in like well over 6 months now. I think it was June or something I stopped. Drink my green tea. But now I can start sitting outside in the morning, get a little sun. We've been stuck inside since freaking like late November at this point. God, I miss it too. It's nice to like get up, have a cup of tea, and just sit outside for a little bit. And then at some point it'll get unbearably hot, like June and July. But for now, we're gonna have a couple months of like, it's like nice weather. Still a little cold though, probably for now until April, mid-April. We don't have shovel sunshine. Not familiar with that term though. Is that some Arizona term or something? What shovel sunshine? Are you talking about with snow? All right, let's go. Oh, we almost forgot something extremely important. The fluoro fiber. Let's use this that I took off and saved because we had a little too much. Nice. I don't think you need a lot of it either. That's probably like enough. Could add more. I will add more because I'm tying this for myself. Why am I skimping out? That being said, that's probably enough. I don't know the magic amount. We should have Henry weigh it by the gram like it's a super silver haze or something. So I know how much. What you want is you want 15 grams of fluoro fiber on your fly. You have like a little drug scale. Measure it out like it's Coke or something. Alright, let's go with the belly section here. Just so you're wondering, this is the tiny little thing you get with this stuff. Teeny little, it's almost like a tiny mini This is like if you made a Crystal Flash Hank for babies that are fresh out of the womb or something. It's like just a miniature version of like a Crystal Flash Hank. You know what I mean? But I guess you really don't need a lot. Even just look how it's glowing in my hand. This stuff is crazy, dude. It's so cool. Sell me chickens. What's going on, dude? What's up, Mike? Sorry if my English is bad. So far, we're off to a good start. I've been following for a while, and I used to set your stream as a background at work. I went fishing a couple times when I was little with my godfather, but never went since he passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, a long time ago, but still sorry to hear that. Now I'm looking to get back at fishing. What do you recommend for newbie sea or river? Or are you trying to fly fish? Or are you regular fishing? Fly fishing, sea or river. What country do you live in, if you don't mind me telling me? What species of fish are you fishing for? That'll tell me what size fly rod you should get. And have you fly fished before with your grandfather? And that's what you're trying to do, or you just regular fished? Doesn't last long either. What's that, the fluoro fiber? Are you talking about something else? Like the weather. Let me get a little of this stuff here off of the top. Doesn't need to be long either. Yeah, once I have a general idea of what sort of fish you're fishing for, then I can tell you what weight fly rod. If you're trying to fly fish, which I'm assuming you are if you're asking me, because you could probably just, what do you call it? Get a regular fishing rod. The fluorofiber, what do you mean it doesn't last long? The amount or the, like you're saying after fishing with it? Definitely a small hank, for sure. But I think that's why you're supposed to use it sparingly. For sure. I've been trying to use it very minimally so I don't, like, end up blowing through it, right? Because I don't think you need a lot. It still seems very vibrant for a small amount you use. But let's say I tied 100 of these, this thing would be gone, right? The feathers came out looking good on the side. Look at that. Portuguese, but you live in Spain. Okay, very nice. I would say regular fishing. With my no fish skills, I would like to get a few fish and eat in size, like fishing with friends. All right. Well, if you want to go regular fishing, Spain in particular, like I've gone fishing in Turkey. It's a different fishery in the Mediterranean over there, depending on where you are. But get yourself a small. It's called a spinning rod. Or you can even hand line. It's very popular there to use hand lines where they have just a spool with fishing line and you throw it out there like that and you just reel it onto the spool in your hand. And it has, like, you can get a bunch of little hooks and put bait on it. And then, because, for instance, in Turkey, there's not a lot of big striped bass and stuff, but there's a ton of smaller little fish that people catch from, like, piers and stuff, and you can eat those. The other option, if you can potentially catch bigger fish, because, again, I don't know what I'm sure there is like European sea bass and there's bluefish and stuff, but it depends where you are. Like I know in Turkey, if you live near Istanbul, you're not catching big fish because they ate them all. Like I could only catch small, tiny little like sardine looking fish in certain areas. But if you went out into like the Mediterranean, you can catch larger fish. So the next step up, if you don't want to use a hand line, is using a small spinning rod, it's called, I'll tell you, which you can find, I'm sure, in Spain. Spinning rod combo, it's called. And it has the reel like this. Not the ones that are upside down. So you could get something like this nowadays online. I'm sure they have Amazon in Spain, but what I would say is go to a local fishing store and look and say, hey, look, I'm just looking to go fishing with some friends for fun. And like you should be able to find something for like $50 or like $40, $30, whatever it may be. You don't have to spend $200. Like if you go, is there Cabela's or something we can look at? even in Spain, they should have cheaper gear nowadays because of Chinese stuff. Even Bass Pro. Yeah, okay, whatever. I am over the age of 18. Like, you should be able to get something like this, for instance, right here. And that way you can go fishing. Now, if you're fishing in saltwater, you definitely want to make sure you get something that's large enough. So you're going to want something that, let's see, do they have a saltwater section? Meaning that it's heavy enough to where you can catch a larger fish, kind of like this. This is a little bit more money, but you should be able to find something. It might be, you know, it should be over $100, you know. Well, you should be able to use them. Bring them into a tackle shop. You should have a fishing store in Spain somewhere. If you don't, what you do is order fishing line. As long as the reels work, you order some monofilament or braid fishing line, 20, 30 pound, maybe 40 pound. I don't know what if they use pound test in Europe or not. And then what you do is you take all the old line off here, and you're going to put new line on there. And that's how you're going to fish. So I'm going to be honest with you. You could easily just probably watch some YouTube videos. I'm not a regular fishing dude. But if you have some rods, for instance, a good length is anywhere from 7 foot to 11 foot in length for like surf fishing in the ocean, depending on what you're doing. Shorter ones for boats, longer ones for the surf, right? And there's thicker ones for throwing plugs. There's some for fishing with bait. There's a million different types. You also need to make sure the rod's heavy enough to throw whatever lures and stuff you're trying to catch. There should be a pound test on it that'll let you know how heavy it can handle stuff and what sort of weight. But for fishing for rivers, you want smaller stuff. Smaller length generally, because you're fishing around, like, you know, trees and stuff. You're fishing in ponds, and you don't need like a big 10-foot rod and a spinning rod. And you're generally fishing like anywhere from 15 to 6 pound test in freshwater for like trout or whatever you have over there, bass or something. So definitely try and find a fishing store. They should be able to help you out and tell you what line you need for your reels and stuff. But as long as they're good, even if they're junk, a crappy spinning rod, you can still catch fish with a crappy spinning rod, you know? I caught many a fish with cheap Walmart and like just really junk over the years when I was a kid and we didn't have good stuff, so. Saltwater and fresh. So just make sure you get the right line for the rod, pound test wise. And then get some lures and stuff. But that's why it helps to kind of find a fishing store. Not only can you help a local fishing store, but you can also, oh, we're done, by the way. You can also find out what works locally, and they can help set you up. Like maybe this particular bait works best using these worms. Or maybe this lure works really good, and they can tell you where to go and stuff. So, but I also recommend just watching some YouTube videos. I don't make content on regular fishing, but you could easily go on YouTube and just watch some basic videos on saltwater fishing with a spinning rod. And like, for instance, watch some videos on fishing for largemouth bass, and you'll get a basic idea, you know? Yeah, you can either get a lead weight with a hook, right? So there'll be a lead weight and a hook. You put your bait on the hook and then the lead gets it out there because you don't have weight in the line like we do with our saltwater or with our fly fishing. Or what you can do is you can get something that's like this, that looks like a fish, but generally is plastic with lead on it, or some sort of lure like a plastic or wooden lure with lead in it for the weight, and it looks like a bait. So you don't need the bait. It looks like a bait fish, you know, so it's a lure or an artificial. So you can also get something like that. That way you don't need bait. You don't have to use bait. You can just reuse it over and over again. So, but if you're brand new, you know, you might need to use bait. Also, if there is no, like, maybe certain times of the year, you're only going to be catching small sardine-like fish over there. Again, I've only done minimal fishing in Europe, but every time we fished, it was always like some sort of smaller type fish. So that's where using multiple hooks. They sell these rigs with a bunch of little hooks. They call them sabiki rigs. I don't know what they call them over in Europe. or like in Turkey, for instance, when we bought them. And then you take tiny little pieces of bait and you put them on. You'll have like 10 hooks, and you drop it down. You'll catch like a bunch of sardines all at once. You can cook them up and eat them. So hopefully that helps. Again, I'm a fly fishing dude. That's the most time I'll spend helping somebody with about spin fishing on the channel. But if you guys ever have questions, even if it is about spin fishing, I'll be glad to help you guys. So, all right, we're gonna put some eyes on here. Oh, first let's brush it up. But yeah, it's very simple. Believe me, you could literally, like, you'll get the hang of it in no time. Doesn't mean you're gonna be good at fishing. I've been fishing all my life, and doesn't mean I'm necessarily good at fishing. But you'll get the hang of it in no time. It's very simple. Let's do a basic trim here, without trimming the feathers off, hopefully. Yeah, start simple. Yeah, it really is. You can complicate things, but think of the old days when we all started just fishing with like a bobber and a bamboo rod or something that you could get from like Kmart or a fishing store, and like a snapper hook, you know, or a snapper popper. Extremely simple fishing, but it's some of the best fishing out there. Some of the simplest stuff, you know. And you can go complicated from there. You can go into lures and trying to simulate baits, you know, and going deeper, and like then, you know, even stuff like fly fishing. But you can start simple and then work your way up. See if you like it too. But I would definitely try and find a shop, or at least find a Facebook group or a club or something with people that are local to your area that fish. Because I guarantee you nowadays, in this day and age, there is something online for people that fish in your general area in Spain. And then what you could do is you can ask them some questions, and they could give you some actual serious recommendations on what to do and where to go. And because I don't know that particular style of fishing that well. Like, I know there's very rocky areas. There's also probably beachy areas. But is there, like, bays and estuaries or, you know? Turning or drinking with friends here? Yes. But, you know, that's what we do here as well. Whether we're professional fishermen or not, we usually end up just hanging out with our buddies anyway, so. If you catch fish or not, well, doesn't matter. You always had a good time. But, yeah, hopefully that helps. But that's always the thing I try to recommend for people that are new to an area. Try to find some people that fish locally, because they will have the information that will honestly be the most valuable, right? Because I can give you generic fishing tips, but you can find that online anywhere. Because people have been fishing for the past, I don't know how many thousands of years. And some things have changed in the past 100 or so, but a lot of it's still the same. Yeah, no problem, man. That's what we're here for. Good luck. Let us know. Come back and let us know if you get into it. Let us know if you catch something. You could, if you got Discord, post it in the Discord. I want to see what you're catching over in Spain. He's posting like freaking bluefin tuna. Yeah, we caught some of these off the rocks. I don't know. Is this good? It's like a 200-pound bluefin. Damn it! Been trying all my life. You see these guys catching bluefins in like Japan off of like canals and stuff with spinning rods, catching like giants. It's crazy. I don't know if you've seen stuff like that on Instagram. There's a couple people that like fish in Japan, and there's some places in Europe where you can the tuna comes so close because it's so deep. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. You could probably do it maybe in like the Bosporus Canal in Turkey, or like those places like that where it's you get those crazy deep channels and areas right off the Atlantic where tuna will come through, like in Japan and stuff. Well, we get them here too. We got them super close. I don't, you know, some people have done it, but I'm surprised more people Well, it is. It is. You want to hear something funny? It's actually technically illegal to catch a tuna from shore. You're not allowed to target bluefin tuna from shore because you need a HMS permit, and the HMS permit is just for vessels. It's not actually for a person. When you register with the ASMFC or whatever, or the NOAA, forgot which one, for your HMS permit, the highly migratory species permit, it's called. You need one for sharks, and you need a separate one for tuna and swordfish, billfish. You're actually registering your vessel, so you're not registering your person. So the boat is what's legally able to catch the tuna. So you can't actually target and catch a tuna from shore legally. And some of those people that caught tuna off North Carolina actually got, I think, federal charges or something or got fined for catching tuna, which is so dumb. They should have licenses for targeting tuna from shore. The thing is, it's a new thing. Like, people didn't have the opportunity to catch bluefins from shore in the past. Like, it's not a regular thing. It's just recently, it seems like it's becoming more and more regular for schools of big tuna to come in close to shore, and you can actually catch bluefin tuna from shore in certain locations here on the East Coast pretty reliably during the summertime if you know what you're doing. But again, I don't think there's actually a legal fishery for it. They need to update the laws for it. They were going out on float boats. There you go. Well, as long as they get an HMS permit for the boat, it's got a registration and all that, you can get an HMS permit. So if you could just register a boat, anchor it to the pier, and just tuna fish. I'm in a boat. I got an HMS permit. I'm good to go. What do you mean, officer? You're you're sitting there with 3 tuna. The officers are sitting there. I get it. They have to enforce it, right? Because you have to enforce the HMS permits. Because if you don't, then there's a lot of poaching that can go on with tuna and boats. And I'm sure there already is, especially with these people that spend so much money on gas with these giant tuna boats. I'm sure there's some people that are like, I spent all this money. We're keeping whatever we catch. But they need to update it and have some sort of from shore tuna regulations. You can't target them and take them out of the water, but that's the thing. It's the same thing. You can't target a great white. And the second you find out you have a great white on the line, you're supposed to try and get it off the line as soon as possible. Now, here's the thing. You could cut the line, but if you leave a hook in a shark's mouth with a ton of wire and line, that's not good for the shark. So ideally, you want to get the hook out of its mouth. But you also can't take it out of the water, right? So if you got to work with it very quickly. You can't be taking photos with a great white, for instance. If you take a bunch of photos with a great white shark you caught, they can federally prosecute you or something like that for overhandling the fish. So you need to show that you're sitting there and you guys are all like this. They're like, okay, clearly you took time trying not to take it out. I mean, to release it as quickly as possible. So you can catch a great white even though it's illegal to target them, because you can catch one by accident, right? Of course. But that being said, you need to make sure as soon as possible you're trying to get it off the line. That's how the law. Because I looked up the laws for all this stuff with the shark fishing and stuff. Because there's so many great white sharks around here, and we caught one by accident. We caught a juvenile great white. Luckily, it broke off or spit the hook off, but so we didn't have to deal with it next to the boat. But we had, I think about 10 times I had juvenile white sharks around anywhere from 5 foot to 8 foot around the boat while we were shark fishing here on Long Island. They're everywhere, and this is within 13 miles, so. Yeah, the thing is though, it's linked to your vessel, because I've had it for my boat. So if they can just have a from shore HMS permit. The other thing is you're technically not allowed to catch sharks. All these people that catch sharks from the beach here up in the Northeast. I don't think you're technically legally allowed to do that, because to actually catch a shark you need an HMS permit. But they don't seem to really regulate. They don't seem to enforce it for some reason. But if I was shark fishing and the DEC or the Coast Guard stopped me like they would ask me for an HMS permit if I was shark fishing. But I just don't think they care about sharks as much as the tuna fishery when it comes to whoever's regulating it. Because when it comes to the tuna stuff, they do not mess around. They also have things like where you have to call, like some days you have to call and see what the regulation is, because the regulations for tuna can change like daily. So they seem to take the tuna fishery way more seriously when it comes to regulations than they do shark fishing. Even though they do enforce both, supposedly, you know, like it seems like with the tuna stuff, they will crack down on it like really quickly. Which is unfortunate because the shark fishery needs to be protected as well, which they do. But I've seen so many stuff of great whites being dragged onto a beach, you know, to be like dehooked and stuff, and people taking photos where they're holding its mouth open and stuff. Like that stuff must be tremendous, what do you call it? Tremendously stressful for a shark in general, whether it's a brown shark or a white shark, but doesn't mean it's going to kill them. But if it's like an endangered species or a federally protected species, you should not be doing that. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they haven't, like, because I see people on Long Island catching these big white sharks and dragging them on the beach at night and taking photos and posting them on Instagram. I'm surprised somebody hasn't gotten in trouble for that, because the people that posted the tuna photos, they got in trouble like immediately, or within a week or so. They cracked down on the tuna fishing in North Carolina from the pier. So I don't know. It's interesting. I just wanted to point that up though. It's funny how they like are super strict with the tuna, but meanwhile with the sharks, people seem to be able to get away with everything. I'm sure the shark's okay, but I really think like you should not be dragging great whites out of the surf into the sand and like taking photos and crap. You know what I mean? So, anyways, Keep Fish Wet. Fantastic organization. If you guys don't know them, check them out. I think they're like a non-profit sort of thing. Or it might just be like I don't even know if it is like an actual, I think it is an organization of somewhat, but they just promote keeping fish in the water. Don't take fish out of the water if you don't have to. What I like to do is, you'll see a lot of photos that I post in the past couple of years have been me leaning over a boat. So that way, because people be like, oh, take the fish out of the water. I leave the fish in the water and I just lean over the boat and say, take a photo like this, because the least amount of time you take that fish out of the water, the higher the chance it's going to live. So I'd say, I mean, they've done studies with bonefish, and bonefish are much more fragile than stripers, but I'm sure it's the same. Every like 5 to 10 seconds that a fish is out of the water, like its chances of its mortality like increase, obviously. And there becomes a breaking point with certain fish species where they've been out of the water for so long that their chances start going up drastically of them dying, you know, their mortality rate. So I just try to be conscious of it and keep them wet. Don't take them out of the water if you don't have to. Keep them on the side of the boat. Keep your thumb in the fish's mouth when you're wading in the water. Pop the hook out. Let them go like that. It sucks. You want to take them out, take photos and stuff, and you can do that, but just be very quick. And you don't need to do it for every fish, you know. That's one of the things watching fishing content, when people hold fish out of the water for so long in videos and stuff. It freaking drives me crazy, dude. Like fishing TV shows. I bet you so many fish have died because of fishing TV shows over the years. They swim away somewhat, but you know they probably turn over belly up an hour later or something. I've seen some, you know, it's just treat them, you know. Just imagine if there were fish that were able to catch us, and when they caught us, they reeled us into the water and they had our head underwater. So like, how long do you think with somebody like grabbing you and like manhandling you and opening your mouth and this and that you could last with your head underwater? That's the way I like to think about it. I like to like put myself in the fish's situation and imagine I'm drowning when I'm holding a fish. And that's why I'm always like, all right, I got to get this fish back, because I'm picturing my head's been underwater for 30 seconds right now. I think I'm going to start panicking. I literally do that. I put myself into, I'm like, I got to get this fish back in the water, dude. I think this has been way too long. It's been like 5-10 seconds. Like, I got to get this fish back in the water. Treat them the way you want to be treated, you know? Don't drag them on the rocks. Don't drag them on the sand. Don't leave them out of the water forever. I'm sure most of you folks know this. You're watching a fly tire, but it's amazing how much you'll see nowadays with social media in particular, people will just abuse these fish just to get some photos and get videos, and ugh, I hate it. I hate it. What do we think? Do we think the feather edition is worth it? I think it looks sick, dude. Because this is going to be like doing this in the water. You know that, right? It's going to be doing that. That looks fantastic. Looks fantastic. Maybe just take a little bit more off the belly here like this. Yeah, looks good. It'll give an abrupt stop when you stream it. Yeah, it almost has like, what do you call it? Parachutes, like a drag racing car. So it's got a little drag on it. I'm curious. Hopefully that doesn't change. Like, yeah, that's something to think about. Like, I don't think, because we have a lead keel and because the jig hook's quite heavy, I don't think it'll mess with the way it swims. But I guess if you add feathers that are way too large, it could potentially cause it to not keel properly. So that is something to think about. I'm going to take a little bit more off the belly on the sides here just to give it a more natural taper. Like that. There we go. Make sure that it turns over properly. Yeah, it looks good. We got the little grizzly on there. I guess I actually, look at that. That's actually pretty funny. I tented the grizzly hackle the opposite way because I, because we had the hook upside down. I did that by accident. You see what I'm talking about? The grizzly should be tented opposite. It should be like this. That's just funny. It actually kind of looks kind of sick. I wonder if you could do like a 4-way tent and do it like a diamond shape with your hackle. I've actually never tried that with really skinny hackle. Do another tent on top. Because look, it's like tented on the bottom. Oops, that's all right. It's still gonna fish fine, fish great. I could always just take the hackle and probably twist them a little here too. Yeah. Like that. Yeah, looks good. Wow, that must have been the end of the Epidemic soundtrack. All right. Looking good, looking good. I like it. I like the addition of the feather on there on the sides. Very cool. Hey, Jay. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Fly will kick more left and right. Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if that'll change it. I think Krager was right, though. I think it'll definitely... It'll have more drag to it for potential stop or something, you know? Anyways... Fun time tying. It's always a good time tying Henry's fly. So shout out to Henry Cowan for stopping by early, as usual. I bet you. I don't know if probably Zeke or somebody told him he's tying your fly again. But thank you, chat, for hanging out. And we're gonna take a look at the Discord here before we wrap things up. We are gonna wrap things up here soon, though. Because we are getting close to 3 hours. So if we stream under 3 hours, Keith will get upset. But if we stream over 3 hours, then Keith will also get upset. So we can't, like, go too heavy. That's a joke, by the way. But it's a new running joke. All right. Put the materials just so it doesn't... we don't have a complete mess on our hands here. And let's take a look at the Discord. See what you guys have been tying. Wrong button. Ooh, very nice. Calvin and his son tying some flies. And when was the last day? I think we didn't see the bat. I think we saw this. But if not, we'll check it out. This is Frankenstein's. Nice looking... wet fly, yeah, for classic. That's history right there. I love it. And then the bat fly. Yeah, this is going to be wild. I didn't see you have like a 3-liter setup with it too for Shinobi, but he tied a sick looking bat fly. I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna have to see a video of it. Now Calvin's been whipping up some sick flies. Calvin, gotta say, man, killer. Look at this. Killer. Beast fly. Mm-hmm. I thought you were just a amazing flatwing tire. I didn't know you had the hollow flies down too. Kinky Muddler, hell yeah. Very good. Then we got Yumi here with a little I just came out with this I just made the video on this fly. The Jamie Boyle Boilermaker, very nice. Looking good too. I like the Clouser. Very nice. And then this is what I'm talking about. Look at these flatwings. Fantastic. And I love how you always tie like a dozen of them or half a dozen or something in a sitting. Looks great. Nice big peacock curl on that too. Very nice. And I think we saw this. Yeah, Craggerroll, you had this little tiny rod set up. And Shinobi, yeah. All right, cool. We caught up on everything. Have you ever heard of the TFO TICR2? Yeah, that was, I think, like a pretty decent rod. It was above their, like, Lefty Cray series and all that. But it was before they had their, like, Clouser rods. And what else do they have now? They have another, the TFO rod series. But that was, like, a pretty good TFO rod, if I'm not wrong. The TICR2 or something. The one I found for sale is a 14 weight and it almost looks like a spay rod grip. Might be one of the Lawner versions that has a... No, that's got to be an offshore one. It just looks like a spay rod grip because they have the giant fighting grips for when you're fighting a sailfish or a tuna. You literally are holding it like this and leaning back like that. Maybe even using a fighting rig for something like that in particular. But... I mean, if you can get a decent deal on it, knowing you traveling the world, you never know. You might go catch a freaking 100-pound yellowfin tuna, probably, or something. But does anyone else remember? I'm pretty certain the TFO TICRs, they were like from the 2000s, maybe mid-2000s or something. They were like I think they were like one of the upper ends of their fly rods because they didn't make cheap 14 weights back in the day either. Like, I think their 14 weight nowadays, which is a cheaper one, still good. I think I have a TFO, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I think it's the Deer Park or something, or some crap or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you'll ever use a 14 weight, to be honest with you. 14 weight is what I have. It's a, yeah, it's a foregrip. That's a shark rod. That's a tuna, marlin, sailfish. I mean, they only get like one or two sizes bigger, and really just they end up using like actual spinning rods as blanks for fly rods for shark and tuna. They build custom rods. That's when people start taking it to the next level. They're going for real big fish. But generally a 14 weight's about as big as you can get. I have a 13-14. They do have like 15s and 16s, I think, but I mean at that point you're like, it's literally like they'll do the custom spinning rod blank with a fly rod for offshore, because you're virtually not casting these either. You're trolling them, or you're only casting at 30, 40 feet, 50 feet if you're fishing for sharks, maybe 10 feet if you're fishing for sharks and you're chumming, so. All right, chat. Well, hopefully you folks have an awesome night. Thanks again for hanging out and watching. This fly looks sick. I like the wing on it. I'm sure Henry would approve, but I'm going to have to tie some more of these. We'll swim them up. I got to tie some of these, a couple more for the customer, and glue up the eyes and everything. But they look good. I like them. And, yeah, what do you call it? Another successful Cowan's Baitfish night. So, thank you so much for hanging out, chat. I appreciate it. I just realized I was touching my face. I have lead all on my hands. Thank you so much, chat, for hanging out and stopping by. I appreciate it. For some fly tying, we did have some internet issues on Friday. Luckily, it was just the internet, or it was Optimum and not my end. And we should be good to go for Friday, of course. So we'll be streaming on Friday. I do need to film the video. I think I'm going to throw these feathers in the video, by the way, because this looks sick. As my little touch, my little addition to the Cowan's fly. But what do you call it? So we're going to have a video on this fly coming out soon, probably before Friday. I'm probably going to film it like tomorrow or something, or later tonight, because I filmed something else. But yeah, so thank you so much, chat. Thanks for handing out. Jim, thanks for handing out. Cragger Roll. I know we had Paul in here and Gene. Let's see, who else am I forgetting? Jay as well. We had Dad Life. Thank you so much for stopping by, dude. Chickens, appreciate it. Calvin, of course, too. Thank you so much, chat, for hanging out. I hope you folks have an awesome night, and we'll see you on Friday for some more fly tying, all right? So until Friday, you take it easy, and before we know it, we'll be fishing in a couple weeks. So we're going to have some fishing content as well planned up coming soon for YouTube and probably for some streams. So, but anyway, chat, you take it easy. You have an awesome night, and till Friday, you take it easy.